El Río de la Vida me trajo a Colombia en el año 2011 y desde entonces he vivido acá. Venía inicialmente trabajando con la antimilitarización en las Américas. Empecé mi carrera en Guatemala y después me pasé a vivir acá y no me he ido. Entonces creo que por cuestiones de la historia, de la incidencia de los Estados Unidos en la región, siento que hay un accomplimiento necesario de los ciudadanos estadounidenses en Colombia, en toda Latinoamérica, y bueno, en mi caso es Colombia, y en este momento vivo en la ciudad de Medellín, trabajando desde La Chispa, que es una organización que fundamos en el año 2016, y aquí estamos cosechando dignidad y muchas cosas a través de lo comunitario, lo creativo, el arte, y trabajando como paz y resolución de conflictos. Y les muestro aquí unas maracuyás.
Esto es una representación del río de mi vida. Y yo diría que realmente el río no me trajo a Colombia, sino que Colombia llegó a mi río, porque no fue algo que había planificado ni nada. Fue una experiencia que me llamó. Entonces visité, y al visitar a la comunidad de paz en San José, me sentía como inspirado y también que quería seguir colaborando, visitando, apoyando.
De un compromiso que yo tenía desde chico de tener que trabajar por el bienestar de todo el mundo y resistir a la violencia. Yo en particular quería resistir la política de Estados Unidos y sus impactos en América Latina y en el mundo. Encontré la organización FOR que hacía acompañamiento en Colombia y me metí al equipo de acompañamiento internacional en la comunidad de paz de San José de Apartadó, en Colombia. Y desde entonces he trabajado en solidaridad con la comunidad de paz, documentando su memoria y su experiencia. Y así como mi vida ha seguido en esa línea de integrar activismo, educación y arte.
El Río de la Vida me trajo a Colombia, and so I have my river divided up into sections of how gay I was. Before FOR, I didn't really have much of an identity. After I joined FOR, found a queer community in Colombia and was opened to more radical ideas. I definitely blossomed into a much more queer person. Unfortunately, when I left for Colombia and entered medical school and residency, that again kind of dissipated somewhat because my context was a lot more heteronormative. And then I met my current partner, Andrew, and he reopened me back to the beauties of queerness and radicalism. And now we are going to be starting a family sometime soon.
El Río de la Vida me trajo a Colombia en varias maneras. First, I studied Spanish in school. That was what was available. I grew up in California, a lot of Spanish speakers. So I studied Spanish, and the first opportunity I had was when I was in high school. I did a volunteer program in Ecuador, where I went and spent the summer in Ecuador in order to, it was kind of a Peace Corps style program, like to help a rural community there. And one thing I learned, I was only 16, but I learned how misguided that kind of approach can be, to come in and try to, I was teaching the people in the community about like gardening vegetables. And then while I was there was a huge rainstorm and all the gardens we had made like washed away. So I think I really learned that lesson of not coming in the way that so much international work can come in to try to like teach people something or give people something. That was very clear to me at that early age. So later, while I was in college, I spent some time in Central America, especially Nicaragua, and that was where I really learned about, really throughout Central America, but learned about like US imperialism in the area and how much the politics of the US had shaped that area. This was in the early 2000s. So, you know, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua had all been through these horrible periods of US intervention. So that was kind of another layer to my political education. So coming out of that, I knew that I wanted to do something. I wanted to do some good and be helpful in the world in some way. And I heard by chance about a program in human rights accompaniment through Fellowship of Reconciliation taking place in Colombia. I actually just happened to hear someone on the radio talking about this program, and I was really drawn to the concept of accompaniment because it was about not showing up and telling people what to do, but just making a little more space for work that was already going on. So the project that I worked on accompanied a peace community in the north of Colombia in a very conflicted area. And this community are campesinos trying to live a good life and trying to not side with either side of the Colombian conflict. And our project was living there with them in order to make a little more space for them to do their work and make a little more space because neither side of the conflict wanted to be associated with attacking internationals or having internationals see some of the bad things they were doing. So we were able to interrupt the impunity a little bit. So that was how I came to Colombia, and I spent about 3 years in Colombia in both that community and later in the capital doing the political side of the work. That's how.